And it looks like I'm live. Hopefully that actually works and you guys are going to be able to hear me for a minute, and everything will work out well. So at any rate, what's up everybody? Hopefully you guys are all doing good. Hopefully you guys are all having a great week. I didn't really have much in the way of planned content for today, so I was like, hey, might as well come out there and do a little something and just kind of talk about like the NPD and stuff. I'm not really worth a full video or whatever, but I also wanted to talk about this article that I posted in the description that you guys can check it out. That the report is that the PlayStation 5 GPU outperforms a GeForce, RTX 2070 Super, which is actually pretty cool. And I linked it because this is running off of PCMagazine.com, which is a pretty substantial place. And if you think about it, it's a pretty substantial thing to actually have them talk about this. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, and I definitely wanted to talk about it. But as you all join in, if you would be so kind as to go ahead and like this video and share it out, and I would much appreciate that. It really means a lot to me, especially in times like this. I don't know if you guys know a lot about YouTube, but YouTube tends to have issues here and there. Like one day everything's fine, next day, hey, they decide not to even publish my stuff that I schedule or send out notifications or what have you. Or just, I reach like 0.05% of my audience. It's all good. I keep on trucking along, and hopefully everything works out at the end anyway. But, these things usually work themselves out in a few days. I'm just hoping that it kind of does that. So anyway, I appreciate your guys' support and that kind of stuff. It does mean a lot to me, and I am very appreciative. So I wanted to kind of tackle some of the NPD as well. First, if you guys didn't know, the NPD is the North American tracking group for like the sales and stuff like that. A lot of people don't really care about this stuff, but it does go to show you when you see the different things in here, and this will really prove my point into why Microsoft has been struggling so much. So software sales, by the way, they list the top 20 for software sales. Now I'll read these to you. Madden is number 1, Fire Emblem is 2, Mario Maker 2 is 3, Ultimate Alliance, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is 4. So 3 out of the top 4 are Switch exclusives. Think about that. 5 is Minecraft, 6 is Grand Theft Auto 5, 7 is Smash Brothers Ultimate, 8 is Mortal Kombat, 9 is Mario Kart 8, 10 Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So, if you didn't know, this is the top 10 for the entire month of July. And out of this top 10, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the top 10 are Nintendo Switch exclusives. And people continually tell me that exclusives don't matter. And to them, I say, hey, you know what? It does matter. Hey, Y9 Power, yeah, I got your thing. I just didn't have a chance to really respond. I was coming back from work or whatever. So kind of it is what it is, man. I just am out there trying to, I was driving home, and I was trying not to get too involved into it so that something happened. So I was already kind of in a discussion with a couple other people, but I'll definitely respond to it, and I appreciate the messages and stuff like that. It really does, it makes a lot of sense to me anyway. So now 11 is Spider-Man, so that's the PlayStation 4 exclusive, by the way. Rainbow Six Siege is 12, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is 13, Crash Team Racing 14, Red Dead Redemption 2 15, The Division 2 is 16, MLB The Show 19, Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe 18, NBA 2K 19, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey 20. So there's a lot of exclusives. Out of the top 20, I think there's something like maybe close to 10 of those are exclusive to either PlayStation or Nintendo. So that's very, very interesting if you actually kind of want to, take a look at it and think about it. Days Gone is the number 9 best-selling game of the entire year on the NPD, and MLB The Show 19 is the number 10. Smash Brothers is the number 6. And I mean, you would figure that multiplats would actually have a really good kind of chance at being selling a lot more, since they're on usually like Xbox and PC and PlayStation. So that's one of those things that doesn't really surprise me at all. It just kind of depends on kind of what you're going to do. And then when it comes to the actual console sales, the Nintendo Switch 1, followed by the PlayStation 4, and then bringing up the rear was the Xbox One. And I'm not sure when was the last time that the Xbox One actually wins an NPD, to be honest with you. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's been a few years. Yeah, so I'm not really sure exactly when it has. I know a lot of people don't really care about it, and I think that's fine. I'm just saying that I have no idea. I'm not exactly sure when the last time was, but it is interesting to see that it's probably been a few years. I think it might even have been Gears of War 4 that helped them win, but again, I'm not 100% sure. What's up, everybody? Hit the like button, share it out. I would appreciate it. Hey, Johnny, we're in. That's right, man. I'm everybody's favorite flip-flopper. Y9 Power says, thanks. Yep, I'm going to be doing Crossfire. This shouldn't be a super long video or anything like that. I just kind of wanted to get out here and talk a little bit about some of this stuff. And, you know, I definitely appreciate everybody that does stop by and spend a little bit of time with me. It does mean a lot. Yeah, so anyway, according to this report for the PlayStation 5, which, again, it's funny because, you know, I know PC people, and, you know, I talked to a couple of them when I heard about this, and it doesn't really seem likely, to be honest with you. And the reason that I was just told was price-wise. It doesn't make a lot of sense for this to actually be what's inside the PlayStation 5. I'm not saying the PlayStation 5 can't have 14 T-flops. I'm just saying there might be a different way that they get there. And the main reason why they might have to get there a different way is simply because it would be expensive. You're talking about quite an expensive piece of machinery. So that is something that I've talked to. I talked to someone who actually is a good friend of mine who builds PCs like for a living. And I also got messaged by a couple people when we talked about this, I think, Wednesday night, maybe on Xbox Nation, where we were talking about the likelihoodness of or not of this. And it was just interesting to see that people were kind of just saying, hey, man, it would be incredibly expensive to do that. You're talking about these chips alone are $700, $800, $900. So the console, even if they get some kind of deal, would be somewhere in this price range. And even if Sony decided to eat some of that price, they're going to still have some kind of problem there. And I feel like that's probably going to be a bit of a problem. So the only things that I've heard, there has not been like a roadmap that I know of that's been laid out for the Xbox Scarlett or the PlayStation 5, just like with the PlayStation Neo, when those roadmaps came out, and the Xbox Scorpio roadmaps, those are easy to get a hold of. So the reason why these roadmaps haven't leaked, believe me, I've asked, is because they haven't been released yet, because it probably won't take long before they're actually out there to the developers that they get leaked, quote unquote. You know, and then that's when the real hype and the real fun starts to begin. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, you know. So I'm not sure that I 100% believe this, but I do think that, you know, both the Xbox Scarlett and the PS5 are going to be very powerful machines. I've been saying this for a long time. Now a lot of people are kind of catching up to what I've been saying, which is, you know, these consoles, we're going into like the content wars more than anything. And, you know, it's really going to come down to who has the most content and who's going to be able to do that. So, what's up, everybody? Impatient says 14 is likely since the leaker is very reliable. I'm not saying that 14 is not likely. I'm just saying that that particular piece of, you know, machinery doesn't seem likely, just based on what I've been able to hear and things like that, and talk to from people who live the PC life or whatever. It's not really my thing, right? Like, I'm not a big PC person, but just from what I've been able to hear and what I've been able to see and kind of talk to about people. So anyway, so as Hotware reports, well known for hardware information leaker named Komachi, he's revealed 3 engineering samples of the PS5's AMD Oberon APU and are currently being tested, known as Gen 0, Gen 1, and Gen 2. The most up-to-date sample is Gen 2, and it apparently runs at 2 gigahertz. To put that into perspective, the PS4 Pro GPU runs at 911 gigahertz or megahertz. So obviously megahertz much less than gigahertz, and this runs at 2 gigahertz while the PS4 Pro runs at 911 megahertz. So you can see that's a pretty significant leap right there. But who knows, because Sony might not have liked the idea of falling so far behind Xbox this generation, you know, in terms of the power, and they want to go out and kind of do something with that power narrative, and we could see them do that. Now, before anybody gets caught up and go, oh, well, they can't do that $5.99 US stuff anymore. Well, I mean, listen, if you have a couple of options, or maybe, I don't know, most people remember the PlayStation 3 era as that $5.99 debacle, right? But the truth of the matter is this, that $5.99 thing, there was also a $4.99 and I think a $4.49. So they had a few different prices in there. The big problem was that you could get an Xbox 360, I think, for what, $299 or something. So that made it seem like a $300 difference, when in reality, it was really only about a $150 difference. And I think the Xbox 360 with the hard drive was what, $399. So realistically a $50 to $100 difference, but it seems huge when you think $299 versus $599, right? That's what most people see, and that's the way everybody kind of spun it. So it's easy to kind of see it go that way, when in reality it was a little bit different than that, and just people kind of remember it a little bit differently than most of us do. But this is pretty interesting to kind of see this as well. Obviously, according to this article, the PS5 is going to be a huge step up from last generation. And they're trying to compare it to high-end graphics card. Comparing it to the latest GeForce RTX graphics gives them a good idea of where the next Sony console sits. The GeForce RTX 2070 achieves 7.5 T-flops. The 2070 Super increases that to just over 9. And then the RTX 2080, which is $800 on Amazon, achieves 10.1. In other words, the PS5 sits between the 2070 Super and the 2080 in terms of GPU performance based on this leaked information. Now, considering the GeForce RTX 2070 Super, which is $499 at NVIDIA, costs around $500 on its own, Sony launching a console with a similar price point and higher GPU performance next year would be mighty impressive. It also bodes very well for its future as a 4K gaming device, so we must consider that there may be a Gen 3 of the PS5 APU to come that pushes performance even higher, and it could possibly match the RTX 2080. Now, again, this isn't me saying this. I'm reading this off of PC Magazine, which I've linked. So I do find that very interesting, and it's going to be kind of fun to see how this kind of all turns out and stuff like that. If you guys are watching, please hit the like button. I really do appreciate it. I wouldn't think that even if they did, 550 or something like that, that it would be totally out of sorts or anything like that. I think it just really kind of depends on what we're going to be doing as seeing as fans and things like that. So it really just depends on what individuals want. If you want that, then I think it is. Like, I've been thinking lately kind of that a lot of people maybe really kind of want, it's going to be hard to have them upgrade, like I know for originally there was a lot of people that thought, hey, maybe it'll be easy to upgrade. A lot of people are going to want to upgrade, and I do think that the PlayStation 5 is going to do extremely well. I'm just saying, for me personally, I do feel like we might see a little bit of a difficult time with getting people to actually upgrade, because a lot of people are happy with the Xbox One or Xbox One S or X and the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro. So it is one of those things where I believe last gen, it was a little bit easier to understand why people kind of wanted to get out of that generation. We've been stuck in it for so long, and then now it's like we're in a situation where it just seems like we haven't been here that long, but it might be good to kind of get people to see what we're going to be offering next or around the corner. So I think that, it's going to be very interesting to see how that all plays out. But, there was another bit of stuff that I wanted to talk about as well. Again, the PlayStation 5 does sound like it'll be a pretty beastly machine, but I think the Scarlett will be too. So don't hate on me or go, oh man, he's just beefing up the PlayStation because he hates Xbox. Now, I don't hate Xbox whatsoever. I just think that it's just one of those games or one of those systems that I used to love a lot, and now it's like a system that kind of sucks because it really lacks the exclusives. But it was interesting because I was reading through Twitter yesterday and I saw this article pop up, and it was by Jez Gordon from Windows Central, called "It Sucks That Xbox Fans Have to Beg for Sequels." And I thought this was a very interesting thing because, me and him got into it not too long ago, and I just found it very interesting because, sometimes you can get an argument with people or whatever, but at the end of the day, I think if you're an Xbox fan, you're an Xbox fan, and this was one of those things. This was a really well done article. If you can look it up and you can check it out, it's very well done, and it basically covers a lot of the stuff that we kind of talk about as fans. So I'm going to read a little bit of it, and then you guys can let me know what you think. Please hit the like button. As you guys, my price limit is $500. I am not paying any more than $500 for a console. I'm sorry. Given the fact that we just got the Xbox One X, and I feel kind of ripped off about it. It's a fine console, but it just isn't like this super amazing console that has a lot of content. So I think that the lack of content has really hurt that thing for me. So anyway, I'm going to read a little bit from this Windows Central article, which is very good, by the way. Even though me and Jez don't always agree or get along, one of the biggest and most valid criticisms of Xbox is the quality of its first-party IP. Cancellations like Scalebound, Fable Legends, and Phantom Dust to over-marketed, under-realized games like Recore and Crackdown 3. Disappointing is rampant among Microsoft's efforts in the space. Microsoft has had some success stories, publishing wins like Cuphead and Ori and the Blind Forest, and pillar games like Forza, Halo, and Gears, and Minecraft have continued to do well. Even games that launch in relatively disappointing state like Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2 turned it around to some degree with some strong post-launch support. Microsoft has so many incredible worlds and characters in its portfolio, it has built up fan bases to that end. Why doesn't Microsoft seem to notice this? One of the biggest sources of frustration with Xbox brand is the lack of consistency in its franchise curation. Microsoft is often viewed as the Halo, Forza, Gears company because those seem to be the only franchises you can depend on for frequent support. Other franchises like Killer Instinct and Halo Wars, despite huge amounts of concurrent users, feel virtually abandoned by the big company. Can you imagine Capcom being done with Street Fighter or Nintendo abandoning Smash Brothers? It doesn't even register. Killer Instinct YouTuber Maximilian recently caused hashtag BringBackKI to trend on Twitter because fans got fed up with Microsoft's apparent apathy towards the franchise. In 2017, Microsoft revealed that Killer Instinct had 10 million players, and that was before the full game hit Steam or Xbox Game Pass. It's very interesting here. So on top of that, you have games like Halo Wars 2, which enjoys a surprisingly healthy player base. According to the Stats API, fans are petitioning for bug fixes and balance updates, along with Steam support. Microsoft reportedly rejected Creative Assembly's plan for an additional Halo Wars 2 DLC, which may have included space combat. Yesterday, Microsoft noted that support for Halo Wars has ended for the foreseeable future. There are countless other examples where Microsoft has built up games, bragged about their success, then let them die. Quantum Break is another one. The game ends on a cliffhanger, but Microsoft bragged that it was their fastest-selling new IP ever when it launched back in 2016. So why is Microsoft refusing pitches for a sequel, according to Remedy? By the way, Microsoft also said it's up to Remedy if we make an Alan Wake 2, and then like a year later, Remedy's like, yeah, we wanted to make it. Microsoft didn't want to. So that's very interesting. So it's very frustrating, and he goes on to talk about it. One of the main things creating the air of frustration is how over-budgeted some of Microsoft's marketing for Xbox games is. Some of these older pre-render trailers for the likes of Recore, Scalebound, and Phantom Dust are very stunning, creating piles of hype from the outset. The gorgeous Recore trailer has almost 1 million views on YouTube, and it created the impression of something truly AAA, a far cry from the rough platformer that we actually got. Microsoft generally doesn't do this sort of stuff anymore, swinging in the completely opposite direction. They're aggressively hiding its upcoming portfolio, ironically creating frustration in other ways, because Microsoft was criticized across the board for its lack of Gears of War 5 campaign footage at E3, and has kept details on upcoming games like Halo Infinite extremely close to the chest. We don't know. It goes on to talk about the new Fable RPG that they haven't talked about or anything like that. By comparison, Sony and Nintendo have large slate of announced upcoming platform exclusive content and have built up a reputation for supporting a broader range of tentpole franchises and delivering on expectations, catering to fans with sequels. Nintendo has been particularly transparent with its roadmap. So he wishes that Microsoft would do the same. So I really do. I like particularly some of this stuff where it talks about that Microsoft hasn't done its best work with the games in the generation, and where it pertains to sequels, it could be argued that non-service games like Quantum Break don't make sense for investment in 2019 from Microsoft. Without a service component for a post-loss monetization, the upfront cost creates a risk that few publishers are willing to take nowadays. It could also be argued that very much do make sense for Microsoft, for whom Xbox is utterly core to its platform. I like that part. Upcoming device-agnostic streaming services like Project xCloud powered by Xbox consoles too. So if the streaming war between Amazon and Netflix is any indication, exclusive content will be the gospel in the fight against Stadia. Stadia is rumored to be splashing the cash on big exclusives of its own in a world where switching platforms is as simple as canceling a subscription. What happens if fans cannot trust you to deliver consistent quality for franchises they love? They'll look elsewhere. So there's piles of reasons to look forward to the future of Xbox, from xCloud streaming to more investment and exclusive content, but plenty of reason to doubt as well. Phil Spencer recently noted to GameSpot that Satya Nadella asked him to justify Xbox's existence, which accentuates the perception that Nadella doesn't care about the consumer-oriented parts of Microsoft's business. Basically, you know, you have to worry a little bit if you're an Xbox fan, because obviously Microsoft could probably just drop the hammer at any time on Xbox. You know, that's just one of the things that could actually happen, and I feel like that's something that maybe won't happen, but I do feel like people should probably be a little bit, you know, a little bit receptive to that. Like, I hope that everything kind of works out for Microsoft and everybody as well. If you are just joining me as we break over 200 people, please hit the like button. I would appreciate it. It definitely does mean a lot to me that you guys come out to support and everything like that. So please do so. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. But anyway, so I wanted to continue reading this a little bit more. Spencer did eventually convince Nadella to give Xbox another shot after the Xbox One reveal in 2013, but with anything in Microsoft's utterly vast, diverse business, no single thing is so critical to the corporation that Microsoft would let a failing division stick around. Xbox has to justify its existence not just from a philosophical level, but from a business one, which is why Spencer has put a lot of emphasis on global services like Mixer, Game Pass, Minecraft, and xCloud to give Xbox a chance to grow beyond the confines of a flat console market. These future-facing decisions, for growth, however, don't necessarily benefit today's Xbox Studios fan, which is what I've been saying all along. These fans' investments is responsible for keeping the business afloat in the now. Sometimes he worries that Microsoft is looking so far ahead that it might lose sight of what it has today. The truth is, Microsoft has heard all these criticisms, acknowledged them, and responded to them by bolstering its internal studios headcount by several hundred. Turning a ship around this large will simply take time. The issue here is less to do with the number of games coming. We know games are coming. It's more to do with how Microsoft seems to perceive franchises' success. It's inconsistent to Microsoft for Microsoft to gloat about Quantum Break, how it broke records, or boast that Killer Instinct has had 10 million players, while abandoning the fan base it built up around those games. Rather than ditching an entire world when Microsoft feels a single-player game unperformed, Xbox Game Studios should take it as feedback rather than failure, unless it makes zero sense whatsoever. Fight back with a sequel, come back bigger and bolder, and be dependable. I agree with this 100%, and this is what I've been saying the entire time. It's just one of those things where if it doesn't seem to do well, like in huge numbers, Microsoft doesn't really care to continue supporting it, and I feel like that's kind of a bummer, because I think that, you know, Microsoft has done a lot of great things, but one of the things that they've kind of failed at over and over again is just the way that they've had kind of piss poor support for their IP, their own IP. Even stuff like, I didn't like Recore particularly. Like, I thought it was okay at first, and then it really started to kind of drag on and get a little bit boring. And, you know, again, that's one of those things that I think a lot of people thought that game was #fun, though. And to their credit, they fixed it up. Why is it, like, one of the main criticisms that I have of Xbox games this generation is they launch and they're usually bad, like Recore or State of Decay 2 or Sea of Thieves or whatever. I mean, I like Sea of Thieves well enough, but when it launched, it had no content. State of Decay 2 was bad as well. Recore was bad. And then they fix it over the upcoming, like, 6, 12, 18 months. So it's like, almost their games obviously weren't ready to launch when they launched them, so why did they bother launching them in the first place? Like, that's always something that I kind of question. And, you know, for me personally, I just feel like it's kind of a mistake. It's like, oh, well, people go, they heard me complain about State of Decay 2 not having any kind of story. It was just kind of this lame thing where you have these constant, you know, like, things that happen, like, you know, dailies or whatever, random events, and somebody goes, oh, well, they have this new DLC that really fixes that, and there's a story, and they really kind of listen and all that. I'm like, oh, okay, well, when did that come out? You know, I mean, this game came out, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago, and now they're adding something that should have been there from the beginning. Like, sorry, I'm not going to go back and play it because they decided to do something that should have been there from the beginning. And it's like with Sea of Thieves. I went back one time when they added the story thing or whatever, and I thought it was fun. But again, as long as you still have that crossplay stuff there, it's not something that I'm gonna, like, jump into and you know, specifically want to, like, play all the time or something. You know, like, I'm just not gonna do it. You know, now I'm looking forward very much to something like Gears of War 5. I think that game is probably going to be pretty good, but again, I'm hedging my bets because I'm not going to actually get out there and pay for it because it doesn't make sense, because I might not like it and I might, I might not go back to it. So we'll have to see how it goes. Hold on. You were right, not flip-flopping. Yeah, I told you. I told you guys that very much. No, I was talking PS5 stuff, guy, in the chat. I covered it first about the new report that shows the PS5 could have more raw power than an NVIDIA RTX 2070 Super GPU, thanks to a teraflop count fixed at 9.2, which is actually, depending on which meter you use, it's also 14. There's like two different ones, I guess. The microarchitecture would allow granting 9.2 teraflops on RDNA, which would be the equivalence of 14 on the GCN. So that's very interesting because the PS4 Pro runs at 4.2 and the Xbox One X is a 6 teraflop machine, which is pretty interesting. And I also linked this so you guys can check it out, just because I felt like it was very interesting and to kind of come out here and talk about this stuff. I really love kind of the idea that we're going to be getting something that's super powerful and that's something that a lot of people would be into. But at the same time, I feel like that this particular rumor is not exactly 100% legit. And the reason why that I don't think it's 100% legit is because, quite simply, it would be very expensive. And I kind of covered that a little bit earlier as well. Now, hopefully this is something that we'll get a little bit more idea on as these leaks come out and stuff like that down the line. But something tells me that it might not be like all that, quote unquote. You know what I mean? I just don't think we're gonna get something that good, and I'm not even sure if we need something that good. Like, I know what they're trying to accomplish, like that 4K 60 frames per second and stuff, but I think that maybe the cost would maybe be a little bit too much for most people to bear, and I'm not sure exactly that people would be 100% on board for something like that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. I don't know for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out for sure. Hey Neil, dude, you got, like, this is what I do these videos quite a few times a week, man. It's not like I don't talk about what I'm trying, what I put in the title, man. I definitely put stuff in the title which one I want to talk about. There was just a couple things that I was talking about, which I also put the NPD in here, which I'm also talking about. So don't act like I'm not exactly talking about what I wanted to talk about, because I am. And if you don't like it, man, you're welcome to, like, not watch or whatever. It's good. It's all good. It's all good. So I'm good with exactly if you want to watch, or if you don't, kind of is what it is, God bless. All that kind of good stuff. But anyway, I kind of want to talk a little bit more about this article because, like I said, I thought that was really interesting, and I thought that it was well done because it was almost something that, like, I would write for myself, just for the fact that I've really felt like Microsoft has failed to kind of cultivate their own stuff. Like, I thought Recore could have done good. I thought Quantum Break deserved a sequel. I thought Sunset Overdrive definitely deserved a sequel. The fact that we tend to not get any kind of sequels whatsoever except to Ori, think about that. Out of all the games we've gotten this generation, the only one that gets any kind of sequel is Ori and Blind Forest 2, which blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. But at the end of the day, I do feel like what we could get is some better stuff in the future. Maybe Microsoft has some surprises for us. I don't know. Just looking through, it was funny because yesterday on Twitter, you guys know him, he's been on the show a couple times, Kratos was like, give us your favorite Phil Spencer quote. And so I had a bunch of these, and I was like, oh, here's this one. One of them was that Phantom Dust reboot remake wasn't canceled. And this was after they fired the original studio that was making the reboot to begin with, because they wanted $5 million more or something, which was chump change, really, if you think about it. And I guess Microsoft was really penny pinching. And Phil said even 3 years ago that the game wasn't canceled and it's still in active development, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's BS now. Like, nobody's asked him about it since 2016, but I would have to imagine that it's not in active development anymore. And maybe we'll see something down the line there. I have no idea what the price would be. Like, if you had to ask me, man, I'm going to say that probably $500 is going to be the price. It really just depends on what these companies have inside there, and what people, and how much of a big how much of a price people are willing to pay for it, right? Like, I think that $599 price is still a little bit too high, but at the same time, I do think that it's just one of those things that that has that negative stigma. So it doesn't, like, I'm not going to go there, oh, well, it's probably not going to be this, because I don't know what it's going to be, but I think we'll have to see what it ends up being, just because I think that Microsoft is smart, and I think Sony's smart too. But we do have Gamescom coming up too, y'all, and I think that maybe I could touch on a little bit of that, just kind of settings and stuff here. So bear with me as I kind of do that as well. So Xbox One at Gamescom preview, Gears of War 5, Ghost Recon, Age of Empires, and more. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of stuff. So Microsoft is going to have Inside Xbox on August 19th, 11 a.m. Eastern. Ugh. So in 3 days, you guys, in 3 days, at 11 Eastern. That's the a.m., by the way. Oh, excuse me, it's been a long day already. Games like Need for Speed Heat, Kojima's Death Stranding will be seen, and it looks like we're getting a hefty mix of third-party stuff as well. I'm very excited to see some of the gameplay footage. Like, I've been waiting to see some of the Gears of War 5 stuff like that for a while now. The Coalition Gears 5 is going to debut its new Horde mode. The new character abilities and skills seen in Escape mode will be available as well. Gear packs are going to be gone from the game, and characters are purchasable with real money, like in Rainbow Six Siege. But otherwise, there's not a whole lot known about the changes in Horde 5.0. Will it offer 3-player co-op like the teaser trailer implied? We don't know. Apparently, the game is 3-player co-op through the campaign as well. And if you guys are just joining me, please hit the like button. Let's maybe get up over 100 likes. I would appreciate that. Definitely does mean a lot to me when you guys come out here and support it and stuff like that. Xbox slogan, keep dreaming until next E3. Well, we don't know that, you guys. We don't know. I mean, Microsoft could definitely surprise some people. I don't want to sit there and say, hey, there's no chance for Microsoft to do something, because I feel like Microsoft could definitely do something and surprise some people. So let's not pretend like they're totally bad or they're not going to be able to accomplish anything, because I feel like they're going to be able to accomplish some stuff. You know, they're obviously have some kind of plan in place, and they have something happening. We just have to wait and see what that is. You know, that's basically what it comes down to. Like, what is their end goal? What is the goal? What are they planning on doing? And I feel like we'll probably know sooner rather than later, man. I think that's just what they're going to do. And they have to have something. You can't release a new console with absolutely no games whatsoever, you know. So, you know, they will eventually have something. And I think that maybe Phil could possibly bank on the possibility that, you know, we're going to get something and it's going to surprise people, because Phil's had that staunch thing, and it's got to me a little bit. The more I look into Phil says one thing and does another, it totally wouldn't surprise me if Phil came out and said, okay, well, we've got this new game or this new game. They're a couple years away, but we're going to show them now, simply because nobody's expecting that. And I think most people just think that they're going to go into next gen and next year with a Halo game, and that's about it. Some people think maybe Forza Motorsport, but two are the same old, same old. And I think Microsoft has a lot more to prove that to people than just having that same old stuff. So hopefully what we're going to see from them could actually be something incredible. Do I think Sony and Microsoft will be conscious of each other's price and price accordingly? Well, I think it really depends. I think it really depends on if people, you know, who announces their price first. So I feel like Microsoft, if they go first at E3 or whatever, that they're not gonna price it right out there. Like, and I also feel like if Sony does a PSX or something, they're not gonna really price it or anything like that right away either. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see how that kind of works out. So I do think that, like, if Sony holds something in February of next year, they're gonna be like, here's the PS4. They might not even show it again. They might wait to show it, and they're probably not gonna price it. And then they'll just be like, here's some games. Here's what it's gonna be able to do. Here's it running this game. Look, there's no load times. Look, it's 4K or 8K or whatever the heck it's going to do. And I think that that's going to be fine for a lot of people. Now, when it comes to what Microsoft is going to do, I think that they're going to wait and kind of just play it smart. If you remember what happened with the Xbox Scorpio, that price point kind of leaked a bit. And so we just ended up getting, you know, people were a little bit disappointed with that price a little bit ahead of time. But, you know, I do feel like, you know, Microsoft is pretty smart. It just really kind of depends on what Sony does and how they want to react. I think both Microsoft and Sony could easily eat some of the price of these things, and then just kind of rely on some of the services and stuff like that. That's what it's really going to come down to. So hopefully that's something that we can see, and that you know, Microsoft is well conscious of, because at the end of the day, if you don't have a user base, then you're not going to sell any content. You're not going to get anybody to subscribe to your services or anything like that. So hopefully they can do that, and hopefully it's a good competition between the two, because I think all of us kind of are depending on that. And you know, at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. If you want to sell your services and your consoles and stuff like that, hey, go ahead and do it. Hey, hit the like button. We're very close to 100 likes. I really do appreciate it. Hold on. Lewis says, how do you feel about the Google Stadia? Sony, Microsoft say that Stadia is the real competition. I feel like Stadia is not the real competition. I feel like Stadia is going to be done with in a matter of a couple years. So yeah, I don't think that I think that they shouldn't have worried about so much about Stadia. You're going to get a price hike in Game Pass. Well, I'm locked in the Game Pass till 2022, so I'm good. Rich says, hey, crap, there are massive differences between RDNA and GCN teraflops. A 7.5 T-flop RDNA is more powerful than a 12.5 T-flops GCN by 10%, if you didn't know. I didn't, I'm not a PC guy. I did ask around a little bit, so it's very interesting to see when this kind of stuff comes up. And, for me personally, I just feel like it's just one of those things where I think that people are definitely better suited to talk about that kind of stuff than me in particular. But it is interesting. Like, I was just reading the article, which sounds very impressive to me, because we all see, these things that are actually happening. We see, we see these articles and we can read off them and stuff like that. Now I'm smart enough to know, like, T-flops, like all of us. I don't think anybody that's a console gamer cared about T-flops or knew anything about T-flops until, like, at some point this generation. I think all of us sort of got a little crash course in that, because the differential between the Xbox One, which at the 1.3 T-flops, and it was such a kind of a large differential between the PS4 Pro, so or the PS4, which was at 1.8, and then the PS4 Pro came out and you had a 4.2 versus a 1.3, and everybody's just all of a sudden like an armchair developer, and that sucks. It's terrible. Nobody cares about it. It's awful. So I do think that it's just one of those type of situations. So we all kind of got that crash course to know a little bit about a little bit, but I do appreciate that seem to know a lot more about that what most people would actually know. So Google will lower internet prices once Stadia releases. Google doesn't own the internet. That's the problem. How can they lower the internet prices? They don't actually own the internet. So, I think that's kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. How are they going to do that? I just don't really, I don't really think so. I don't think so at all. I think that, what we're going to get from, I was talking a little bit about Gamescom. So, there are some things that you can actually kind of expect from Gamescom. The Outer Worlds is going to get some new stuff shown off, which Darksiders Genesis, which is going to be shown off there as well. There's going to be, obviously, Microsoft's lineup, this is what they have. Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition on PC, Battletoads, Bleeding Edge, Gears of War 5, Halo Master Chief Collection on PC, and Minecraft Dungeons. So, I mean, that's their lineup. They have some third-party stuff as well. But very interesting that they have that kind of lineup. Look, I don't really care too much about Battletoads or Bleeding Edge. I know some people do, and I don't care at all about Age of Empires or Master Chief Collection on PC or Minecraft Dungeons. I think Minecraft Dungeons looks okay, but I just kind of wish that it was a little bit different. I would love there to be like a secret announcement. I don't think there's going to be one, but I would absolutely love there to actually be one, just because I think that we kind of deserve it. When was the last time we got one? Need for Speed Heat, which is the new Need for Speed. Borderlands 3. Nintendo is going to have some different things. Luigi's Mansion 3. Zelda, Link's Awakening. Pokemon Sword and Shield. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition. Doom Eternal. I'm looking forward to Doom Eternal. That looks absolutely incredible. Sony is going to have a lineup there as well. Now, we're not sure exactly what's going to be there 100% on Sony's side, but there is going to obviously be, like, Sony's going to be there with Death Stranding, of course, and Medieval could be there as well, because October is when that game releases. Dreams, Call of Duty, who knows? Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be there. There's a lot of cool stuff to look forward to, so even if you're, like, a first-party fan or whatever, I think that there's plenty to kind of get ready to be excited about and to kind of look at and stuff like that. Let's see. Hold on. Papa says, stop talking about PS5 all day long. They will not release now. Maybe December 2020. That's what I'm saying. Dude, Google Fiber is dead. Google Fiber is dead, changing. They really didn't, I know they kind of hyped that stuff up incredibly a lot. But Google Fiber, that whole initiative, completely dead. Like they're not doing anything with Google Fiber, nothing. So yeah, there's definitely not. I understand what you're saying, but the whole Google Fiber thing is basically a dead thing because nobody's using it. They actually stopped the initiative at places. So yeah, that's so outdated as well. I think that we're gonna have some very interesting things with this whole streaming situation. We are gonna have to see how these companies react, because so far Google's only answer to data caps or throttling, which is like where they kind of throttle down your data during peak hours. A lot of people Google's idea was, oh, they'll just work with us, and I'm not exactly sure that I buy that that's actually going to happen. Like, is that actually going to happen? Are they actually going to work with people? Like, I don't know. I have no idea how that's going to work. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But we'll have to see how it plays out, because I do feel like there has to be some kind of plan in place. It seems kind of haphazard to just go, oh well, we're really gonna just hope that these companies work it out for us. I'm not exactly sure it works that way, folks. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how it works. What's up? Oh, okay, Y9 Power, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Age of Empires is PC only. Yep, I did. It's only PC, unfortunately. Look, I'm not an Age of Empires guy, but, it is weird that the PC gets, like, an exclusive, and they got, like, exclusive people and stuff like that. So we'll have to see how that kind of plays out. Hey, hit the like button. We are 20 away from 100. Wow, think about that. Just this random thing, and then we could have 100 likes on this. That would be absolutely incredible, and I would be very, very appreciative of that as well. So, if you guys didn't know, Forza Motorsport 6 is being delisted on September 15th. It looks like it might already be delisted. So, end of life status on September 15th, so make sure you own it and all the DLC. It looks like that shit might have sold. This is the thing that I worry about with, like, digital stuff. Okay, so let's just imagine. I'm not sure that there's a big need out there for people to go get Forza Motorsport 6. It was a good game, right? I think it was actually better than Forza Motorsport 7. But think about the number of games that are delisting now, right? This has got to be a real worry, because Minecraft Story Mode got delisted, Forza Horizon 1, Forza Horizon 2, it looks like Forza Motorsport 6, Forza Motorsport 5, Disney's, what the heck was that? DuckTales Remastered or whatever it was, that got delisted. Like, so many games are getting delisted now. This has got to be a real problem, a real issue for a lot of people. So hopefully it's something that we can kind of work out later on. I would love to see some kind of answer for this, to be honest with you, because it's a little bit scary. Like, they want us to go into this whole streaming situation just, okay, everything will be fine. And at the end of the day, I don't think it is fine, because, we're sitting there putting up with spending $60 a pop on these games, and for what? We even if we buy them digital, at least we have them, but this game, the fact that these games are getting completely delisted is a little bit weird. So here's how this article goes. If you want to play Forza Motorsport 6, you had to pick it up. It's at the end of life status. It means that from September 15th onward, Forza Motorsport 6 and all of its DLC will no longer be available to purchase. You can actually still download the game and play it if you already own it, but physical copies will be there too. You just won't be able to buy it anymore. It's not that the first Forza game to be delisted. Forza Motorsport 5 was delisted in October 2017, and Horizon 2 in September 18. Microsoft is doing its best to ensure that everyone who has an interest in Motorsport 6 and DLC has them added to their libraries before they're removed from the store. However, from tomorrow, Xbox Live Gold members will be able to download Forza Motorsport 6 for free as part of Games with Gold. That means as long as they're an Xbox Live Gold member, they'll be able to re-download the game at any point. Additionally, Forza Motorsport 6 Complete Add-ons Collection, which usually retails for $79 to $99, is currently available for the low price of $4.99. So if you ever want to play Forza Motorsport 6, jump on right now. Now, this was the one that had, like, wet weather or something like that. Hold on. Hit the like button, guys. JD Gamer says the latest rumor for the next Xbox still has it at more powerful than the PS5, 10.8 RDNA. What's the latest rumor for the next Xbox? Because I haven't seen one for a little while yet. If you have like a link or something that you could show me on Twitter or something, because I haven't seen almost anything on the later Xbox specs or rumors and things like that. So I don't know. Like, I'm willing to. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I haven't personally seen anything yet. So we'll have to see. I'm willing to kind of look into it and ask around, because when I ask around, you know, what's happening, you know, like that's the main thing that I'm trying to see. Is I've been looking for Scarlett stuff too, and I haven't really been able to find any, but that doesn't mean anything. What I was told by a couple people was that the dev kits were much more mature on Sony side, and so for what it's worth, that, I mean, that's what I've heard. So, you know, I have no way of knowing 100% for sure exactly what's going on or whatever, but interesting. Hey, this is some breaking news though. Halo Infinite's creative director has left 343, part of a major leadership shakeup as the game enters its final year of development. So, wow, that's interesting. Woo-hoo. This comes way of Kotaku. Man, this is not great. Halo Infinite creative director leaves. Tim Longo, creative director for the upcoming Halo Infinite, left developer 343's last week, in part of a leadership shakeup that arrives late in development of the next Halo game. Microsoft confirmed the departure and sent over the following statement. Roles and responsibility of various team members regularly evolve to meet the needs of a game throughout development. We have recently had 2 changes at the Halo Infinite development team. Our executive producer, Mary Olson, will now take charge of the campaign team on Halo Infinite as the lead producer, utilizing her many years of experience at 343 to help craft a great campaign for fans. Additionally, Tim Longo has recently departed our team, and we are truly thankful for his many contributions to our game, our studio, and the Halo universe. We wish Tim nothing but the best in his future endeavors. The overall creative vision of the production of the game is led by Chris Lee, studio head of Halo Infinite. We have a world-class team building Halo Infinite, and the overwhelming positive response by fans has us energized more than ever to create the best Halo game to date alongside Project Scarlett in 2020. These changes have no impact to the release date for Halo Infinite. So that's very interesting that the head of the that they actually lost a creative director a year before launch. Like, that's something that's almost unheard of these days. And you know, it's got to be a little bit worrying, right? Doesn't sound like a great thing to happen, in my opinion. That's, man, that doesn't sound great at all. Yeah, I know, David. I'm talking about it right now. That is very much a very troubling situation. If you're an Xbox fan, like, why is that really happening? You know what I mean? I don't really understand what's what's going on there. So yeah, that's very interesting stuff. I don't really, have anything much more to say about that. I just one of those things that, at the end of the day, I guess that kind of happens. I think the bigger news is that for whatever reason, oh, never mind, I'm not unblocked. I thought Jason Schreier had unblocked me. False alarm, folks. False alarm. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, wow, that's very super interesting that's happening. They're actually, I'm sure we're going to talk about this a lot more on Crossfire, but that is very interesting to see, and very interesting that so far we haven't really seen much in terms of what's going to happen later on down the line. But wow. Just very interesting to see that. I'm just completely blown away by the fact that their creative director would leave literally a year before the game launches. That's like a megaton, you guys, and I've never heard of that being a good thing. But then again, if I do want to actually think back a little bit, if I remember right, Uncharted 4 had a little bit of a troubled situation like that. A bit before Uncharted 4 launch. Remember, Amy Hennig left and all that kind of stuff. So, wow, that's very interesting. Do I think the PS5 is going to get beaten by Microsoft at E3 2020 because Microsoft are very quiet? I don't know yet. You know what I mean? Do I like the new PS4 controllers? I think they look cool. Fun Creator says, crap, that sounds like the creative director realized Xbox is finished and probably accepted an offer from Naughty Dog. Well, no, look, I don't think a lot of, the Xbox fans that I know don't really go around like, woo, man, it's so great, we just hired so-and-so or whoever. Like, I don't think Xbox fans are the ones that really do that. So, I don't really know, I think it really kind of depends on what's going on. Naughty Dog janitor moving to Microsoft Studios. Hey, hit the like button. I appreciate it. Mark, hey, I'm not laughing. I'm just saying it's very strange to see people leave their job, like a creative director job, just out of the blue like that. So completely very interesting. Probably not a good thing. But again, this stuff is probably so far done or whatever it is, like creatively. Like, I'm not sure like who was the one to kind of pull out first, but like, was it this guy that pulled out first? Who was it? Like, I think that's the problem. That's the thing that you have to look at when you look at these kind of things, so yeah, it really kind of depends on what's going on, and hopefully hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully it's something that can be salvaged or whatever. So I'm not thinking that it's a total loss yet. I'm willing to be, me, right? A little bit a little bit optimistic here, guys. So yeah, that's how I plan to be this a little bit. I just want to be a little bit optimistic about this stuff, and just say that I think that probably a lot of the stuff is good or bad or what have you. For good or for better or for worse, I think it'll be fine. They're spending so much money on this stuff and have so many people there, 1 or 2 people or however many they're going to lose. I just feel like it's not that big a deal, and that they probably will be okay. But I do think that it is a little bit strange that this happened like literally a year before launch. So yeah, that is a little bit strange to me personally. I guess we'll see how it is. Hey, everybody, hit the like button, share it out. I'm going to keep asking you guys that. At least they'll have 13 months to make sure we get the best campaign ever. Yeah, I mean, I never heard of this person. David Elliott says Microsoft seem really bad at managing studios. Well, they're new studios. They have no kind of, it's neither here nor there for them, I guess. So I guess we'll see how that works out. But I do feel like at the end of the day, it's one of those things where their new studios can have creative freedom, but what about their current studios and things like that? So like the IP factories or whatever, they're really IP factories, and we'll have to see how that works long term. So hopefully it'll all work out. But it's like, one of the things that kind of bums me out is the fact that those studios are kind of stuck making a certain game. Like Coalition has to make Gears, and 343 has to make Halo, and Turn 10 has to make Forza. So yeah, that kind of bums me out a little bit as a fan, but I can understand it. Those are your big franchises, and I think a 5-year layoff for Halo would be good, but it does seem very turmoil laden what they've had to put up with there. So I mean, I guess we'll have to see how it works out. And, again, I'm not going to be down on it because I think that it can still be pretty dang good. We'll just have to see what it is. Hey, everybody, hit the like button, share it out. Thank you. Oh, we're 1 away from 100. Dang. Can we do it? That would be pretty sweet. I would definitely appreciate it. Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. Definitely would love to cross that barrier if we could, because you guys have been absolutely awesome. Yeah, and I'll be back tonight on Crossfire as well. It should be a pretty fun show. And just you know what? Hey, I have seen the new Sony DualShock 4 controllers, and I just found it kind of funny that Sony is doing the custom controllers too. They actually should have got into this a long time ago, because it seems like it's a good way to make money. I mean, Microsoft has had so many of these things, and they continue to sell really well or whatever. So really cool stuff, man. I gotta say, I was impressed with it, and they look pretty good. Obviously, Microsoft still has more options and stuff like that in terms of what you're going to be actually playing with or whatever. But hey, I'm not counting out Sony, man. They got some pretty cool looking stuff out of there. So definitely interesting to see. But man, this Halo news, man, just got me shook a little bit. I'm sure some people will probably spin it, but at the end of the day, people leave development studios all the time, so I'm not really, one way or the other with this whole thing. So we'll see how that kind of works out. Definitely, for sure. Phil probably asked the creative director to put some chicken quests in Halo, and he had enough. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe it's going to be games as a service. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but I do think that, we'll probably see how it works out. And hopefully it works out well for the game, because I feel like Halo can't afford to have another one of these botched situations, right? Like with oh, okay, JD Gamer. I appreciate it, man. So JD on Twitter sent me a link to the hardware for the Xbox Scarlett alleged hardware dev kit. Of course, this is from April or whatever. So this would be, let's see, memory, storage, 4 terabytes. Wow, they got this as 4 terabytes. That seemed kind of expensive to me, but hopefully, not too bad. Let's see, memory, GDDR6, GPU, custom, 1475 megahertz, CPU, 3.2 gigahertz. Wow, I mean, this would be okay. So this one's a little bit weird because I haven't really seen it or what, but I'm not sure that I actually buy into that. That seems very expensive too. And I mean, I'm not a huge person when it comes to this type of stuff, but that seems very, very expensive, and probably not. I mean, yeah, it seems if you're somebody that's if you're a person that has this kind of money, I mean, why wouldn't you just get a PC? It seems like this would be quite costly. So, I'm not 100% sure, but wow, this is quite expensive here or whatever. So, I'm not sure I believe either one of those leaks, man. I think both these things are going to be very similar. And like I said, it'll come down to whoever has the best software or whatever. I'm not hating on Xbox, dude. Game trailers, man, get out of here, man. I'm nothing but loving on Xbox, man. I love me some Xbox. I hope that they can turn things around, man. That's my hope. That's my hope, man. I hope that it's going to be something fantastic at the end of the day, man. I don't want it to be bad. I want it to be awesome. I think that it's just one of those things. So hopefully it works out well for Xbox. I'm excited by what they're going to be having. I want to see what's going to happen. I do like I said, I've enjoyed the fact that Phil Spencer's been very upfront with this cloud stuff. I was worried that might take precedent over some of this other stuff, and it looks like that's not going to be the case. So, he's like, hey, cloud streaming is years and years away, but that also harkens back to what I was talking about in that Jez article, where, maybe Microsoft is looking too far ahead, and that might not be a good thing either. So, again, this is all just, we don't know yet. So, I guess it just kind of depends on what's going on, and we'll have to see how it kind of plays out, but I am very interested to see how this stuff plays out and how it works for Microsoft at the end of the day, because we need this competition. We need that competition between these different companies, and I feel like without it, who knows, man? Who knows where we're going to end up, but it's not going to be a good spot. It's not going to be a good spot. So hopefully they can get stuff worked out, and hopefully it all does work out well for each and every one of us, because that's very important. And, we got some of this. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of these topics and stuff on Crossfire tonight. So wow, yeah, if you are just joining me, we talked a little bit about the NPDs. Xbox came in last again, unfortunately. I think 6 of the 10 NPD top selling games were Nintendo Switch exclusives, so that's very interesting. Also talked about this leak on the PlayStation 5 with the hardware, and I guess we talked a little bit about this. I don't believe the PlayStation 5 leak, and I don't really believe this Scarlett leak either, by the way. I'm not saying that I think they're going to be terrible, but I just don't think it's going to be that one in particular. So yeah, take all this stuff with a grain of salt, because realistically, it that's that's what we have going for us so far. So hopefully it does all kind of work out for everybody. Hold on, poor Xbox. No, man, listen, Xbox fans, if you're an Xbox fan and you're okay with Xbox right now, you'll probably be okay with Xbox for a for the long haul. Again, just because you're probably okay with playing mostly multi. Look, there is an audience for Xbox right now, right? I'm not gonna lie, there is. If you're just a person that likes a lot of multiplats and you're a big online gamer, and you know your friends are on that, and you like Xbox Live and that controller and achievements, then Xbox is clearly for you. Like I'm no joke, that is clearly for you. The only thing that I would point out is, for me personally, is that I think that you know, PlayStation has done a really good job at kind of closing that gap between PSN and Xbox Live, and that, you know, the PlayStation 4 DualShock isn't as bad as I originally thought. The newer ones have a little bit longer battery life and stuff like that, but I do think that the Xbox One, especially the Elites, have the superior controller. So it really just kind of depends on what you're into and what you want to game with, you know. So at the end of the day, that's really, it really comes down to. I'm not gonna you know, begrudge anybody or tell you what you should or shouldn't get or what you should and shouldn't play. I'm not like that. So I like to make jokes and stuff like that when I joke around about like State of Decay 2 being terrible. To me it is, but I'm not going to knock you if you want to play it, because I think that's, you know, that's up to each of our stuff, up to us each individually. So, you know, I'm going to answer some questions too, because I know you guys have probably some questions, and I wouldn't mind answering some just to get them out there and just kind of talk about them. Hey, hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. Check out the other one I sent. Yeah, I'm checking that one out, JD Gamer. I'm looking at it right now. The specifications and stuff like that. Okay, so the Anubis GPU is expected to deliver 10.8 T-flops. The SoC for the Xbox Scarlett would would be called the Anubis. And the custom ZPU is Zen 2 base, which is already confirmed. That's actually the same in the Xbox Scarlett and the PlayStation 5. So I find that to be very interesting. 8 cores, 16 threads, 3.4 gigahertz. Alleged leak that instructions sets up for an API of DirectX 12X, which makes a lot of sense, and Havoc are implemented in the chip. Here's the thing. DirectX 12 and Havoc are both owned by Microsoft, so that makes a ton of sense. And you know, we'll definitely see probably something like that, them working together with those things. So I definitely see those as being legit possibilities there. The aforementioned key data, this results in GPU computing power of 10.8 T-flops. It would be in line with speculation of the past few months, according of which the theoretical performance of next-gen consoles above that of the basic equipment of Google Stadia, which comes up to 10.7 T-flops. However, it would be close. So you're looking at, this says 48 gigs of GDDR6. The final sales model, however, with 24 gigs. I don't know if we're going to see these consoles with 24, though. Like, from some of the other things that I've heard, we might be getting, like, 16 or something. Like, do we really need 24 gigs? I'm not really sure. Memory bandwidth given is 560 gigabytes a second. To compensate for the memory halving. The solid-state drive cannot be used to the small extent, especially given the memory disposition. By the way, I had to translate this because it's pcgameshardware.de, so I guess it's like a French site or something. The final storage data is according to this, is 1 terabyte. An additional hard drive doesn't exist, etc., etc. I mean, this seems a little bit, I guess, more believable, but I'm not 100% sure that I believe. I mean, like, look, when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's better just to kind of, I do really like talking about it, but I still think it just makes sense to kind of wait and see how it kind of plays out and stuff like that. Hold on. Let me see. What's my PSN? My PSN is just Crapgamer. JD Gamer says, I think that Phil is doing the rope-a-dope, and come next year, no punches will be held back, and we'll be surprised at the games, the console, and power. You know what? I do hope that that's something that we get. AK Massifier, what's up, man? Did you guys get the notification for this or not? Like, I don't usually try to be a bummer or downer with this YouTube stuff, but it is a little bit of a bummer lately when I set a video to go off at, you know, I usually set my videos to go off at 7 p.m. Eastern and 1 a.m. Eastern, and when I do 2 a day or whatever, sometimes I just do 1, but it's usually either 7 or 1 a.m., and sometimes they don't even go off at all. I'll never get a notification, and nobody seems to get a notification, and they just release and die. I don't know what the deal is. Earlier in the week, there was a problem with YouTube where they had some kind of issue and they were fixing something, and whatever they fixed, it really screwed up whatever was my ability to reach my subscribers. So yeah, that is a little bit of a bummer that you can't reach the people that are subscribed to you, but hopefully, you know, if you guys are watching, just just know that if you guys like the videos, or just maybe if you don't even check them all out, just show some love every day and just stop by and see if I have something new up. Give it a thumbs up, even give it a thumbs down, whatever. But just show that you appreciate some of the content or whatever, even if you hate it. Even if you laugh at me, I would appreciate it. Just because I do put in some work, and would just appreciate it. At the end of the day. So hopefully, hopefully we do get something like that from you guys. I know I got a small fan base, but hopefully you guys are pretty loyal as well. So thank you guys. Phil promises big guns every year, and his promises are empty as my wallet. Yeah, I mean, JD Gamer says no PS5 leak has stated 16 threads, just 8 cores, and that would explain how they're able to clock it so high. I guess, I mean, what you're saying makes sense. I'm not doubting that the PlayStation 5 won't be as powerful as the Xbox Scarlett. What I'm saying is it's going to be probably something that's not going to be hugely noticeable. It's not going to be like this huge gulf. A lot of people thought there was a huge gulf between 720p and 1080p. The reality is, I think less than 20 games on the Xbox One were 720p when it was all said and done. And when you think about all the games that have released for the Xbox One, and that less than 20 were 720p, you see how ridiculous that whole narrative was to begin with. So, I don't know. We'll have to see how that kind of plays out. But I do think that what we're going to see next gen is, 4K 60 on most things. And then, again, it's going to come down to, are these companies going to be able to deliver great content? Like, it's going to take more than just great looks or whatever. We all already saw Phil go, well, we're going to prioritize frame rate. Even though a couple years ago he said most people don't even know what 60 frames is. So, obviously, he's kind of changed his tune a little bit, and we'll have to see how that kind of plays out for him and for everybody else as well, because at the end of the day, we all kind of want that great experience and the best experience that we can get. And, so far, hey, I don't even know if we've gotten the best out of the Xbox One X yet, or the PS4 Pro. I don't know. Maybe The Last of Us 2 is going to drain that last little bit of greatness out of the PS4 Pro. Maybe Gears of War 5 is going to be that great game that we've been looking for in the Xbox One X to really showcase what it can do. Because, look, Gears of War 4 does look great. The Coalition is a fine development team, albeit they're a bit of a, like a cover band, in my opinion, for Epic Games. But, I still think they're a solid development team. Rod is a Gears of War guy. And, I'm just hoping that they blew it away, man. I hope that this game is absolutely fantastic. And I'm hoping that, that it's amazing. And so far, it seems like it is going to be pretty damn amazing. Have I played Bloodborne for about 45 minutes and got my ass kicked and was just like, it's not my thing. Rich says, hey, crap, I think PS5 and Scarlett will be equal. They could be. What game am I playing right now? I've been playing some VR stuff. I think I'm going to dive back into No Man's Sky on the PlayStation 4 with the VR update and check that out. I've heard some really killer things about it, and so I'm very excited to kind of check that out or whatever. Rich says both will have fastest solid-state drives, Zen 2 CPUs, ray tracing, Navi GPU, so they are the same mostly. Yeah, it really comes down to the content and what they're going to be offering exactly. Fun Creator says, crap, what I don't understand is how they were cool to system a small console with a GPU at 2 gigahertz with 8 core 16 threads, Zen 2 CPU at least 24 gigs RAM, and it has to eat at least 350 watts. I don't know. You know what? Like, I don't know. Maybe they'll do like the cooling system that the Xbox One X has. I'm not really sure. Holomoko says, crap, have you seen the heard Salty Gamer seeing the light too? God of War is the best game he has ever played this gen. I said that too, man. God of War is hands down the best game I've played this generation. Just for the simple fact that the narrative of that game is just absolutely phenomenal. I just think they did such a really good job with it. And I haven't really seen anything that's come close to that. So hopefully, we get another one within the next couple of years, and it really showcases what the PlayStation 5 can do, because what we've seen with what it's been able to accomplish with the PlayStation 4 has been nothing short of miraculous and amazing. And I got to say that it's been awesome. I've thoroughly enjoyed God of War. It's just one of those, there's just something different about it. Just right away, it kind of gets you right where you're trying to go. Like, holy crap. So I really enjoyed that. I really thought it was fantastic, and they did such an amazing job with that. And I really do I'm not just saying that. It's honestly probably the best game I've ever played in my life, and followed up probably by Red Dead Redemption 2. So yeah, it's that damn good. If you haven't played it yet or tried it out, I suggest you guys check it out because it is absolutely phenomenal, and I think you'll like it. And I think that there's a lot to like there. You know, it's different, it's fun. It's just something that's quite frankly just different and amazing. So, have I played Detroit Become Human? Yes, I absolutely love Detroit Become Human. Probably one of my favorite PlayStation games this generation as well. Is it true that PlayStation 5 is going to come out sooner? I think it's going to come out sooner. I think that I've heard the Xbox Scarlett's going to release November 20th. I think the PlayStation 5 is going to release a week or two before that. So we'll have to see how that gets going. And Laura says, I got the Platinum Trophy for Bloodborne. That game is incredibly difficult. So that's very interesting. Fun Creator says, I have God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn at the same #1 spot. The problem that I had with Horizon Zero Dawn, I wasn't drawn into the story as much, right? Like, I thought it was a pretty game. It was like AAA. They've well crafted. There wasn't like a bunch of glitches or anything. Beautiful graphics. Probably maybe the best graphics this generation. But the story just didn't grab me. And then like the lack of a lock-on, considering those robots, had a little bit of a problem. I actually did like the Frozen Wilds. I liked that a little bit better than I actually liked the main stuff. But that's not unusual for me because because I really liked that whole what was it? There was Infamous Second Son and then Infamous First Light. I actually liked First Light and that character a lot better than the original character from Infamous Second Son. So yeah, that's just like my opinion though, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that there's other people that disagree. I just didn't. I thought Fetch was a far more interesting character, and so yeah, I was very much into sort of how that came about and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely, in my opinion, some fantastic stuff. You know. I'm going to answer a lot more questions, by the way, because I'm having fun with this. Halo Infinite director left. Yeah, I saw that. He wasn't the only one. They've left a couple of other people or whatever. It is very interesting to kind of see that. You know, I'm super surprised by it. I might do a video for later and give some more thoughts about it. But I think that the Halo creative director thing is such a strange thing to happen a year away, that it can't possibly be for the better, to be honest with you. I just do not see how that could be for the better. And I just think that realistically, it's just going to come down to what happens. Man. Well, you know, I really just think that... Hold on, I saw a question that I was going to answer. JD Gamer says, I agree Horizon Zero Dawn is very pretty, but it isn't a very good game. It's only average. Yeah, listen, I think they could get better with the sequel, and that's what's good about that, right? Hey, if you guys could all hit the like button, maybe get me up to 150 likes, I would appreciate it. I think a sequel could really shine, and that's the difference between Microsoft and Sony, where Sony will do stuff with a sequel. They're allowed, like Days Gone. That game will get a sequel, and, you know, some people probably don't think it deserves a sequel. I think it does. But, you know. Let's see. Whoa, crap. God of War, is it really the best game you've ever played? Yeah, it just hands down from right the beginning when you start playing that game. Just absolutely a phenomenal game. Like, I hadn't played anything like it. So, absolutely. If I could give you advice on what to play, that would be one of the games that I say, hey, play that game. It's absolutely incredible. You know, give it a chance and see what happens. You know, I just really do think that that's probably the best game that I've ever played, and just the characters and the Metroidvania type style, you know, just really bring that world to life. There wasn't a part in that game where I was like, oh man, this sucks. You know, it was just super amazing, and yeah, just absolutely. You know, just one of my absolute favorite game of this generation. JD Gamer says if Horizon Zero Dawn was a 720p blurry mess, nobody would care about it. I don't know, man. A lot of people liked it. I didn't like it as much. I thought it was okay. Let's see. Let's get some more questions in here. Guerrilla Games. Guerrilla Games is working on 2 games, by the way. They're working on a Horizon Zero Dawn sequel, which was already confirmed by a voice actress from that game, and then also they're working on, due to some hirings, their second team is working on a first-person shooter with the multiplayer aspect. So they have multiple things going on there. And I think that's incredibly exciting as well. Horizon Zero Dawn is yeah, it's pretty good, man. Especially when you think that it's a brand new IP that managed to accomplish that, right? So, a lot of people don't realize how hard it is to put out a new IP, and then for that IP to actually attract people and get gamers in there and things like that. I think that's super. That's incredible. The fact that they've been able to do that. So, very much impressed with what they've been able to accomplish and sort of set out there and get going. Just realistically, that's one of the things you rarely see, and it's nice to see that Microsoft or that Sony was able to do that. Not only that, but that game really helped Microsoft decide to go back and make another Fable game because it was so successful or whatever. So yeah, there is that part of it, and yeah, it's just fantastic to see that. And I gotta say, man, I'm very impressed with just what they've been able to do just because of that game. And if that inspires Microsoft to do better, hey, then all the better, all the better. It really takes all these. That's what competition is all about. I always felt if Madden had better competition, it would be such a better game, like when the 2K games were out there, and the fact that it hasn't really kind of lets me down. But at the same time, hey, you got to kind of just deal and roll with the punches sometimes. So yeah, I'm very appreciative of that. Hey, everybody, hit the like button. Having a blast here. I'm going to do a few more questions before I get up out of here. But yeah, this is, I enjoy doing these kind of spur of the moment stuff. What games you not play? Are you saying what games do I not play on PS4? I don't play, I don't know. I'm almost willing to play. I'm not going to play Persona, if that's what you mean. That's definitely not my type of game. But I definitely love Red Dead Redemption. It's been said by multiple sources that Microsoft's SGS has between 23 and 28 games in development. Can you name as many as you can? Well, it depends on what you say. Like, I've seen some of this list from that supposed insider or whatever, but a lot of those games are like not their actual game studios or whatever. Like Moon Studios isn't owned by Microsoft or whatever. So realistically, I think it just comes down to there were a lot of the stuff they're working on is also like multi-platform. In Exile, for example, they're working on a VR game. They released a PlayStation VR exclusive earlier this year. They're working on Wasteland 3 and Bard's Tale 4. So I know a little bit. I just don't know a ton. I guess if I sat down and tried to come up with what everybody was doing, that I would be able to kind of come up with everything and every game. So let me see if I can actually come up with that. So we know that 343 is doing Halo Infinite. We know that Coalition is doing Gears 5. We know that Turn 10 is doing Forza 8. We know that Playground is working on Horizon 5 and Fable. We know that, we know that Minecraft is Dungeons is being worked on by Mojang. We also know that Double Fine is working on Rad and Psychonauts 2, which both those are multiplats. We know Obsidian is working on Outer Worlds. And let's see, we know that In Exile is working on Wasteland 3. And they're also working on Bard's Tale 4. Let's see. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 games right there. Let me think. Who else do we got? We know that Undead Labs is working on State of Decay 3. We know that Rare is working on a new multiplayer game. We also know that, let me think, who else do we got in terms from Microsoft Game Studios? We know that Ninja Theory is working on Bleeding Edge and another IP. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, that might be all that I can think of right now. Yeah. I know that I believe that Compulsion is working on a new game as well, but I don't know. There's also rumors that Microsoft is trying to buy out some other studios or whatever. But yeah, so there's also the Initiative. They're working on a new AAA IP. So I can almost come up with, I think, 18 games, something like that. So not too bad. You know, I think it really kind of depends on the type of games that some of these studios are able to actually put out. Like, if they're able to put out some quality studios or not. Like, I hope that we can get like a big AAA type exclusive from the Initiative. You know, hold on, Microsoft Game Studios. Oh, I mean, look, if I wanted to talk about, you know, let's see, here we go. So they have an Age of Empires studio that's working on Age of Empires 2. They have the Global Publishing, which is obviously working on Ori. And let's see, Ninja Theory, Minecraft, In Exile, Playground, Obsidian, Turn 10, Undead Labs. Yeah, I think that I pretty much got all the ones that I could think of. It really just depends on when these things are going to get announced. Now, out of all these, the wild card, in my opinion, is Ninja Theory's second game and the Initiative, because I think Obsidian is far away from getting any kind of game for us to play in terms of, you know, AAA. They've hinted at, of course, you know, maybe Outer Worlds 2 or Outer Worlds 3 could be exclusive. I don't really know. That game doesn't really interest me to begin with. So hopefully we could get something else, you know, down the line. But yeah, not too bad. You know, kind of surprising when you lay it all out like that. The problem is how many of these games do people consider to be good? I mean, obviously Halo Infinite is something that's good. Gears of War 5 would probably be pretty good, but we get those a lot. Forza 8 probably be pretty good. Forza Horizon 5 and Fable, those will probably be good. I mean, Minecraft Dungeons, Rad and Psychonauts 2, Outer Worlds, Wasteland 3 and Bard's Tale, State of Decay 3, Rare's new games as a service game. Like, there's nothing in here that screams to me like, holy cow, you know, I gotta get an Xbox for this, you know. So you know, hopefully we get some incredible stuff in the future from these games, but these studios. But there's also like, if you want to add like second party stuff or whatever, I guess Gears of War Tactics is being worked on by a company as well. And there's some other ones too. So it really just kind of depends, you know, like that. There's a lot of stuff, but I don't know that there's a lot of stuff that's going to get people super excited. Just like the stuff that I'm mentioning. I'm not sure there's a ton of people out there that are super excited by this stuff. Crap, did you hear the creative director for Halo Infinite left 343 Studios? Yeah, thanks, Enrique. I heard that live, and we were talking about it a little bit. That is never a good thing. I cannot believe that a year away from launch on this, we are, you know, the creative director has left the studio. That, to me, is very surprising. And, you know, I couldn't be more surprised if I woke up tomorrow morning with my head glued to the floor. I would be completely surprised. That is very interesting. I have to say, kind of shocking, you know, that happened, and that, you know, they had to reach out for it. Also, I want to know who the heck Kotaku's sources are, because they got some dang good sources if they're getting this kind of news out of there. I mean, they are kind of, you know, all over the place. So yeah, very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. I'm surprised. Hey, if you guys wouldn't mind all hitting the like button as well, share it out. That would be awesome if you guys could do that, and girls or whoever is watching, I would appreciate that. I think you guys are pretty awesome. The last night got canceled. I don't know if the last night got canceled. I think what happened with that game is they got into some legal problems, and then there was some kind of social justice problem, and then Microsoft distanced themselves from that, and then we kind of got stuck with that. Let's see. Long Drive says, crap, you kill me. You ain't making sense to buy a PS4 next year. There's new IP, and we know Last of Us 2 Ghost. Other than that, wait for 2022 for the original titles. Listen, Ghost of Tsushima is actually, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, I think the rumor is that that's going to be a cross-gen launch title now for the PlayStation 5 as well, which makes a lot of sense, you know what I mean? Microsoft really needs to have a good 3-4 exclusives, big AAA exclusives to launch alongside the Scarlett, in my opinion. So, you know, hopefully they can do that. Hopefully they do that. I'll break out the harmonica tonight. Don't even worry about it. I'll definitely do that. Hopefully you guys can do that. You guys will enjoy that. Long Drive. Microsoft hasn't made a good new IP this whole gen. Yeah, they haven't really made a lot. Just in general, they haven't done a whole lot of new IP or whatever. So yeah, I just think that it's one of those things where they haven't had a specific amount of IP that have kind of released or whatever in their entire being that's been really worth much, in my opinion. So, you know, it's weird to me as well, you know, that they bought Gears of War. That was a third-party game for a long time, and you know, now we're starting to see sort of this kind of thing come about. So hopefully everything works out. I'm not sure, you know, what to think of this news, though. I'm sure everybody will be talking about it or whatever, you know, probably at a particular point or time. But yeah, you know, very interesting to see that come about just randomly like that. It's better to get a Switch right now if you don't have a console that will be supported for a long time. The Switch, man, how about that thing? Dude, Ghost of Tsushima is a brand new IP, Long Drive. Why do you other fanboys hate God of War and Last of Us so much? I think just because they're such good games. It's like, look, here's how fanboyism works. If you're platform like Sony, then you have quote-unquote one-and-dones because they're like these single-player games, even though those one-and-dones can take as many hours as most people put into a multiplayer game. Like, I have more hours put into Red Dead 2 than I had in Gears of War. So, you know, people always change the narrative to whatever fits. If you're an Xbox fan, it's going to be multiplayer, man. We really like these multiplayer games. The problem is this isn't the 360 era where multiplayer games are like the Xbox exclusives were the best, because the third parties are really the best now. You know, and with Microsoft's forced cross-party play or whatever, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So yeah, Microsoft should have stepped in and buy that game. Yeah, the last night looked decent for a what is that, an indie game or whatever. I agree that it looked pretty good for what it was. So hopefully that all kind of works out and stuff like that, you know, because I thought that was an interesting looking indie game or whatever. So I guess we'll kind of see how that kind of plays out. Hey, if you guys wouldn't mind liking the video, maybe we can get up to 150. You can share it out. I would definitely appreciate it, and just think the world of you guys if you would be so kind as to do that. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to wrap it up with a couple more questions. Microsoft has stated multiple times now that they want to buy a Japanese studio. What Japanese studio do you think they will buy? I don't know if they're allowed to buy one. I'm not sure how that works, but I feel like, you know, I feel like it's one of those things where they have to be able to sell out or whatever. So I think they might have better luck opening a new one. I've always felt like they should have opened 2 or 3 new studios in addition to the ones that they bought. Like, then you don't have a tie to something in particular or an expectation. So we know what kind of games Obsidian makes. They make a lot of these story-driven RPGs or whatever. We know what Ninja Theory likes to make. The Initiative, that's a huge one. Was kind of a toss-up up in the air. We don't know what they're making, but if they would have had a couple other studios like that, I think people would be a little bit more excited at the end of the day. So Ghost is coming out just for PS5. Ghost of Tsushima, no, it'll be a cross-gen game. But just like Halo Infinite is going to be a cross-gen game as well, right? It's going to be on the Xbox One S, the X, the launch, the Scarlett, the PC, whatever else. I mean, that's the way that they do these things. You know what I mean? They're all going to be cross-gen, but it's still a brand new IP that's going to be cross-generation, and I think that's pretty cool. Hey crap, why is Microsoft hiring so many developers and they can make these small AA games and they don't hold as much weight as those Sony games? I have no idea. I think they're just looking for Game Pass fodder at this point, so we'll have to see how that kind of works out. You know, I don't know. I'm not going to be too negative on it. Ben Irving left. Do you think he's taken over creative lead? Isn't it a little late for somebody to take over creative lead on a game that's coming out next year? Like, yeah, I think that's, you know, that's really, in my opinion, a big problem, and that Microsoft tried to hide it or whatever. Yeah, that's definitely a bit of a problem in my opinion. So I mean, we'll have to see how that plays out too. I'm not going to get too bad on it. Benner, let's see. Let me put this to the rest. American companies are allowed to buy Japanese companies unless the Japanese company doesn't want to be bought. Sega was going to sell itself to Microsoft. Okay, I mean, if that's how it works, then I don't know who they would buy, because I'm not really familiar with a lot of the Japanese companies. So I don't know. Maybe like Capcom or something like that. I think that could make sense. We have to see how that works. I am not sure. I'm really not sure. Hopefully though. Hopefully it'll be good. Let's see. I'll answer two more, and then I got to get the heck out of here. I wish Halo Infinite come on only Scarlett. I don't want the game to be held back by Xbox One. You and me both, right? Mario Heat says Infinite coming to PC, Steam, and Windows, possibly even Epic Store. They only confirmed it to come in the Windows so far in Xbox. I'm not sure it's coming to Steam. I'm not sure yet. Like, we'll have to see. But it's only so far been confirmed on Windows 10 as well as the Xbox, obviously. So let's see. Japan will always put Sony as a priority over Xbox. Always. Here's the thing: if you're a Japanese developer, even if Microsoft had a Japanese studio, would you want to work there? Because nobody's going to buy the game. Like, especially in Japan, right? Like, Xbox sells, I think, 5 Xboxes a week there or something. So if you're a Japanese developer, would you even want to work on it? You know, like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But what do I know? You know what I mean? So we'll see how that works out. I'm not knocking it one way or the other. I don't mind. Like, I've come to kind of appreciate some of these games. Like, I'm never going to be a Persona type player, but I kind of like Yakuza and Judgment and some of these games. So I think they definitely have a place. I like Nier, but I didn't want to beat the game like 8 times or whatever it is to get the true ending or whatever. But I enjoyed the game. I thought it was a pretty dang good game, Naughty Dog's working on a new IP. It's going to be great. Yeah, they're working on... I've heard a rumor that it was going to be a steampunk game or something like that. So, yeah, that's... Naughty Dog does great work. They are probably the best developer in the world. Them or CD Projekt Red. Like, it's just classy all the way around. And very, very nice to see at the end of the day that they're able to kind of pull this off. Hopefully they can continue to do a really good job, because I feel like... those developers are really carrying their respective games or whatever. Like Cyberpunk versus Last of Us 2 next year for Game of the Year. Does it really get much better than that? Like, I'm not really sure that it does. I'm just saying, like, that's the ultimate showdown right there. You've got what was it? Last of Us 1 lost out to Grand Theft Auto 5. Think about that. And now we're gonna see Naughty Dog take on CD Projekt Red. It's going to be funny to see how that kind of plays out. It's going to be very interesting. I'm very interested to see how it plays out, and I know probably a lot of you are as well. So very, very cool stuff. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Indeed. Let's see. Halo Infinite looked like a current gen PS4 game. Oh, I wouldn't say that. Naughty Dog's working on a new IP. Already covered that. Hit the like button. We are 10 away from... where I need to be. I want to get to 150 likes if you guys could be so nice. Are you excited for Battletoads? Will you buy a Day 1 Collector's Edition? There's not going to be a Battletoads Day 1 Collector's Edition. It's like a $15 Game Pass game. Nobody's going to spend no 30, 40, 50 bucks on Battle Turds. Battle Turds! Yeah, nobody cares about that game. Horrible, horrible game. You know, I'm definitely not going to spend any money on that game. Harmonica. I can, like, tune in to Crossfire tonight. I'll do the no creative director blues for Halo and 343, because that does not sound very good in my opinion. That definitely does not sound good. Hopefully everything works out. I have high hopes for that game, so I'm a little bit bummed that this is the case. That this is the case right now. So yeah, very, very interesting to see how that's gonna play out for the franchise, especially since so much effort and money have been putting to this game. It's really interesting. Xbot 448, excited to see more Last of Us 2 gameplay. I want to see a release date on that. I'm more interested in the release date. Hopefully we can get something pretty phenomenal for that, because I think everybody's waiting for it. I should open up a game store. I don't have any money. I wish. I'm just a poor guy, man. With a dog crap YouTube channel. I lost most of my support when I spoke the truth about Xbox exclusives and the lack of Microsoft being open about their stuff. So unfortunately, it doesn't do well if you have an Xbox related channel to speak out against Xbox. But I felt like I had to do what I had to do. So just one of those things. I definitely appreciate everybody that came out here today for just a random live stream. Thank you guys so much. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Don't forget to stop by Crossfire tonight. It's going to be a really good show. Yeah, we're doing Crossfire on Mooch's channel. We're back. We're going to be testing out some OBS on there as well. So please hit the like button, share it out. Please hit the bell so you get notified. I appreciate it. Rack 'em up. Have a great day. Crapgamer out.